Oh, sorry, dude.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the Rowdy.com Big Three. Even though there was no cup racing this weekend, plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm Best Masters. He's Buck Beaver. Jerome Buck Cutler has the Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski questions.
Let's start by listening to what Carl had to say in his post-race interview.
I mean, we're all good race car drivers. We know how hard to drive into the corner, and every once in a while you make a mistake. But if you're racing and you're respecting the other guy and you're not driving over your head, you won't run into someone. And there's another thing that could have been done there. The reason he got the lead was because he ran into me. He could have given me the lead back and pulled him behind me where he was down the back straightaway, and that would have been a different there would have been a different outcome there. You know what I mean? But there's just, I mean, it's the end of the race. You know, there's not another lap. There's no other way to. I mean, what do you do?
Okay, so here's my question.
Well, do we need to set this up at all? I mean, Carl, Brad bumped Carl.
Brad bumped Carl coming out of one in the final lap of the race at Gateway.
Yeah. Was basically just past him.
And then Carl, out of turn 3,
turned him on the
straightaway and ended up taking the checkered flag.
Brad came across the track, got T-boned a couple times.
Now, most of the articles I've read have been very critical of Carl Edwards, except for Nick Bromberg at Racing Today, who says Carl's not automatically the bad guy. Are either of you, here and now, willing to say Carl Edwards was justified and appropriate in his retaliation after Brad Keselowski got into him?
No, absolutely not. Are you crazy?
Crazy.
Compare this to the New Hampshire incident between Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson, as I believe someone did online. Which is, Kurt bumps Jimmy and Jimmy bumps Kurt, and they go on. I mean, this
well, Nick addresses that because Tom Jensen said that was the model. But what Nick Bromberg at Racing Today says is Kurt Busch did that with 7 laps to go. Carl Edwards didn't have time on the last lap to orchestrate another bump.
I agree.
Carl's not going to have time next time he's in a nationwide race because he's going to get wrecked by Brad Keselowski.
I've always said this. You have to look at the consequences of your actions. It's not just intent. Oh, I wasn't trying to hurt him. Well, you put him in harm's way not once now, but twice.
Right.
And you can't keep doing it. Either you got to get better at retaliating, or you're going to have to come up with a different strategy. Because Brad Keselowski now has a free shot. I'm sorry, Brad Keselowski, you, sir, have a free shot at Carl Edwards. No one's going to say, no one in the public at least, and not very many people in the media, are going to say you were wrong if you take Carl Edwards out at Richmond and keep him from making the chase. Wherever you choose to retaliate, you have a free shot.
So is what I hear you saying, Bass, is that Carl Edwards was not necessarily out of line in retaliating. It is the manner in which he did it that was inappropriate.
It's killing an ant with a sledgehammer.
This just in. People die in race cars.
Exactly.
Carl has done this twice now. Now, I really hope Brad Keselowski doesn't take it to its logical extreme and take him out and threaten his life. But this has got to stop. Carl Edwards is not the squeaky clean Scotch race boy.
You mean Carl Edwards is this?
He's that guy.
He has a temper, and that's okay.
That guy.
I'm not saying Carl Edwards is a bad guy, but I'm saying this is a bad thing that he's done.
He's a freak.
Oh, stop it.
You're a freak.
You
All
are
right,
definitely
let's
a freak.
move on to issue
He
number
should
2.
not have done that.
If you're Brad Keselowski, how can you not do anything?
Wait. This is issue number 2. Brad Keselowski now has the fans on his side. Should he take the high road now and continue to win the hearts of fans, or should he retaliate?
I say yes.
He must retaliate.
I think he should take the high road and not wreck Carl and just move on. I think that's the smartest thing to do.
He already took the high road once, did he not? And what did it get him? Almost killed again. He has no choice but to protect himself. Furthermore, if you want to talk about winning the hearts and minds of fans, he's got a free shot at Carl Edwards, and if he doesn't ever do anything about it, I think he loses those hearts and minds.
Is his free shot...
You got to stand up for yourself. I'm not saying he has to do to Carl what Carl did to him. The high road there would be like, look, I'm not going to flip you over in the air. I'm not going to put you in the wall, but I am going to cost you a lot of points. I am going to make it hurt.
Forget the Nationwide Series. In the Cup Series, going down towards the chase, you got to wonder what Brad does.
Is his free shot limited to the Nationwide Series?
No, not at this point. Not when you mess with my life. It's not.
It's not even limited. It's a waste of time in the Nationwide Series.
All right, let's move on to issue number 3 now. We were all pretty critical of Joey Logano's father after he got involved in the Harvick-Logano incident. Now, Bob Keselowski, Brad's father, came out very emotionally after the race and said, he's trying to kill my boy. I'm going to get in a race car and take care of business myself. Is this the same thing as Tom Logano running to his son's defense?
No, because he didn't actually run to his son's defense. He was there and was asked a question, and he told people how he felt about it.
Now, I mean, if he gets in
That's
the
extent of
car,
it.
if he
I
gets
don't
in the
think
car,
he's
it's a
going to
little
do
different.
anything. I mean, he knows. I think he knows, based on his own experience, that Brad is going to have to take care of this himself. No one can do it for him. Brad's going to have to do it himself, and that's probably what's going to happen. Where and when, I'm not sure. And I think the other question you have to ask, which we can't answer now because we're running out of time, is what's NASCAR's role in this?
I know.
At what point do they have to step in and protect people? This is the other side of Have At It Boys. The Have At It Boys isn't a free pass for NASCAR either. They still have to draw some lines. I'm not saying this is the time, but it's at least legitimate to ask the question. If you have a question you want to ask us about this or get us to comment on, you can go to our Facebook page, which is Facebook/Rowdy Racing. Leave us a comment or a question. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about it. Or come to rowdy.com. There's lots of blogs on this up right now. Maybe if you're pro Carl Edwards,
I want to see some pro Carl love on Rowdy.
If you feel that
Everybody's throwing Carl under the bus. I want to see somebody take the tack that Nick Bromberg at Racing Today did and defend Carl's actions.
Well, we'll see what
I
happens.
don't think so, but go ahead.
For Buck, I'm Bass and Cutler. We'll see you next time.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.